Okay, let's jump right into our deep dive today. We're looking at the book of Psalms, specifically chapter 99.
Right. And this chapter, it gives such a vivid picture of the divine, who God is, how he interacts.
Yeah, it's really packed with some profound ideas about his character.
Definitely. We see themes like God's reign, his sheer power, but also his holiness, his justice, and importantly, how he responds to people.
A lot to unpack there. It starts with this, well, almost visceral image of power, doesn't it?
It really does. The Lord reigns, let the nations tremble. That's quite an opening statement.
And he sits enthroned between the cherubim, let the earth shake. It's not some distant, quiet idea.
No, definitely cosmic scale. And that phrase, enthroned between the cherubim, that's really specific imagery, isn't it?
Yeah, it connects to the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy of Holies, sort of anchors that huge power.
Exactly. It ties universal power to a specific point of interaction. And
Yeah.
then it gets even more specific.
Hmm. How so?
Well, it says, great is the Lord in Zion, and he is exalted over all the nations.
Ah, right. Zion, so Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, it brings this universal king right down to a particular place that matters to the audience,
Precisely. So you have the cosmic and the local, you could say.
which flows really naturally into the next big theme here, holiness.
Yes, that connection is strong. Zion has his place, and the call is to praise his great and awesome name. Why? Because he is holy.
And it hammers that point home. He is holy, gets repeated.
It does, and the instructions are clear. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his footstool, and later, worship at his holy mountain.
For the Lord our God is holy. It seems worship is the expected response to this inherent quality.
Right, and it's fascinating how the text links that immense earth-shaking power we just talked about with holiness.
It's not just raw power, it's power that is fundamentally pure.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
which leads directly to justice. This isn't just a mighty king, he's a mighty king who loves justice. That's stated outright.
So his power isn't arbitrary. It's guided by, well, what's right?
And the text gives a concrete example of this. It says, you have established equity. In Jacob, you have done what is just and right.
Established equity. So setting things right, ensuring fairness, and specifically in Jacob for the people of Israel.
Yeah, showing that abstract love for justice has, real-world application within their history.
Okay, so we have this incredibly powerful, holy, just being. But then the chapter shifts a bit, doesn't it, towards relationship?
It does. Despite all that might, it talks about responsiveness. It names names, Moses, Aaron,
Uh-huh, among his priests.
and Samuel, among those who called on his name.
And the key phrase there, they called on the Lord and he answered them.
Yes, it wasn't a monologue. There was dialogue, interaction.
And it even mentions how he spoke to them from the pillar of cloud. Again, very specific imagery suggesting direct communication.
But there's another important piece to that relationship puzzle mentioned.
What's that?
It notes why this interaction worked, or at least a condition for it. They kept his statutes and the decrees he gave them.
Ah, okay. So there's a kind of reciprocity. Divine responsiveness linked to human obedience to the guidelines.
Right, which kind of sets the stage for how the text describes God's relationship with Israel as a whole.
How does it put that?
It says, you were to Israel a forgiving God. That's a huge statement of grace, right?
Immense grace, yeah. But there's a but, isn't there? Or rather, a though.
Exactly. Right after saying he was forgiving, it adds, though you punish their misdeeds.
That's quite the balance. Forgiveness and punishment held together. What are we supposed to make of that?
Well, it suggests a complex relationship. One with real grace, real forgiveness, but not one that ignores actions or removes accountability.
So, a God who is just but also relational, forgiveness is possible, but consequences are also real, based on following his ways.
It's a picture of authority that is powerful, holy, and just, yet also deeply engaged, listening, responding, and, well, demanding.
So, summing up Psalms 99, it paints this multifaceted portrait, immense power, profound holiness, a commitment to justice.
Yet also closeness, responsiveness to individuals like Moses and Samuel, and a relationship with Israel marked by both forgiveness and accountability.
It's a really rich picture indeed.
It really is. And it makes you think, doesn't it? When you look at this ancient description of divine authority, so mighty, yet just holy and holding people accountable, what does that make you consider about the nature of power and accountability, maybe in any sphere, even today? Something to chew on.